I am so upset.
Because you're stupid.
I'm not stupid. Okay.
I blame you.
This is what happened. We just did our first ever Talk Nerdy to Me recording.
We spent like an hour on this thing.
Yeah, we recorded for an hour and 10 straight minutes and I think it went really well. I was really excited to just hear it, and then I was going to edit it down. It was going to be all nice. But Audacity decided to stop working like one time. Out of any time I've ever used it, it was just like, it let me go to the end, and it was just, I stop, I go to save. Nope. Anyways, so it's just John and I. Before, it was Preston, Pano, John, and I doing the first ever Talk Nerdy to Me, and I think it went really well, but we'll get the crew back together, maybe some other people, to talk about something else. But right now, we're going to talk about the Avengers. We're going to be a little bit quicker than an hour and 10 minutes, I hope.
Hopefully.
Man. All right. So, you're listening to the first ever Talk Nerdy to Me. My name is Greg.
And I'm John Adam.
All right. So, we're talking about the Avengers, and this is a review that I wanted to do for a while now, and I made everyone not talk about it until today. Preston had seen it like Thursday, I think, maybe. Whenever it came out. I saw it Saturday.
Should probably not mention the other interview. I think we should just talk this as like this is the first.
I can't get over it.
So, yes. Greg has been waiting to not... He has not let any of us talk about it.
And I was like, shut up. Wait for the podcast. And I didn't even talk about it with anybody.
Keeping it in your brain. Like,
keeping it in my brain.
Stop talking.
So, I guess that whole plan backfired. But we're going to talk about the things that we like, what we didn't like. John is going to pull up some facts and figures for us about the money it's made and everything.
Oh, yeah.
On the off chance it becomes relevant. But let's start talking about some of the... Well, what'd you think? Give me your general impressions first.
General impression? I liked the movie. It was very good. But the thing was, everyone kept telling me to see it. And like, this is the best movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
Better than anything in the world ever. It's better than polio curing.
Yeah, it was like that. So it's like, when anything is brought up that high, it's never that good. Like, if I went to go see it without anyone telling me about it, I probably would have loved it. It would have been great, but I was like,
You don't love it?
I loved it, but it was just like, it wasn't like, just like, as soon as someone tells you to eat something that's so amazing, and then you're just like, yeah, it's good. It's really good, but it's just not worth the hype. The hype and the didn't add up to me.
All right, well,
which I was promised.
I'm going to warn you now. We're probably going to do spoilers. We did it.
Oh, no, this is, like, literally don't, like...
I don't know why you would be listening to this if you hadn't seen the Avengers.
This is a review. It'll probably say it on the title somewhere that it is a review, and you're...
Well, it's a review. You can listen to reviews without spoilers, but ours, not the way we do it. We like talking about very specific things.
Exactly.
Because we're nerds. And we geek out about certain things.
Just the glasses.
Yeah, really. Inhale asthma inhaler. But, so yeah, let's talk a little bit about our nitpicks. Now, you can go first.
Okay, my biggest nitpick of the movie, I would have to say, was definitely, alright, there's this one scene where Thor and Iron Man are fighting, and Thor, like, strikes Iron Man with a lightning bolt, and now this...
As Thor is wont to do.
Yes, and he hits him, and he powers his suit to, like, 4,000%, which doesn't make any sense.
Over 9,000.
It doesn't...
400%. Let's be real, John.
Right, but anyways, and he's like, oh, that's interesting. So it leads up to this whole, like, they're going to reuse it again. Like, he's going to go fight a monster, and he's like, Thor, strike me with lightning so I can do an awesome power shot.
Bulletproof logic.
And there's even the point where he like dies at the end after going into space, and they could have like,
suits seem to power down, and I thought what they were going to do was have Thor charge him up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but they didn't do that. They just left it alone, and it was like, oh wow, that was just like potential, and they just dropped it completely.
Yeah, I mean, then again, that lightning striking him and charging the suit might have just been a lucky fluke. Next time he tries it, kills him instantly. Do you have any more nitpicks? Or I guess we can do it back and forth.
Yeah, you go.
One thing that kind of bothered me was I like Samuel Jackson, but him as Nick Fury, I've never really been a huge fan of, and just the kind of way they did Nick Fury. I love Nick Fury. I love, like, in the comic books, and I love Samuel Jackson, but they're doing Ultimate Nick Fury, which I've never been a fan of. The Ultimate Universe being, like, the sort of Marvel's reboot. They're, like... That they did what?
It's like edgy and modern.
And it's like 10 years old at least. But the idea behind it was like, we're going to start over for people that don't read comics, don't know like where to start. So
I really loved actually the Spider-Man Ultimate series. It was really good.
I read the beginning of it. I wasn't a fan, but I hear it's gotten good now, like with the death of Spider-Man. Anyways, point is, if you have Samuel Jackson, you have to make him go crazy and start screaming at like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I would have loved to see him do that with Loki. Not only that, but Nick Fury is so passive. Like, I like that really gruff World War II veteran. That type of Nick Fury.
Where I'm like, I've got a toothpick in my mouth. And
not the cartoon toothpick Nick Fury. The kind that's always smoking a cigar no matter where he is. Like, no matter how...
He's in a flying
I don't know where
ship.
he keeps them all, but I know, right? In a flying ship.
And he's smoking in it.
Not only that, but I really like that Nick Fury in the comic books is somewhat... He's like... drifts between sort of like a general and like a super spy, like
yeah.
And he doesn't have any like thing that seems like a general, but he's more of a military leader apparently. But he didn't seem to have anything like this super spy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. But he was kind of playing the role as the captain, like the eyes and ears kind of thing.
Yeah, I know, like the M to James Bond or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just felt like he was too passive because Nick Fury, like he seemed to just be like, well, I guess that's it, and everybody go home. And, like, I understand that, like, it was sort of an act, but still, I would have liked to see him just be even more aggressive and sort of like,
oh, totally.
You're going to do what I say, and here's why. Like, I never understood why they even listened to him, which they kind of don't, but...
Yeah, they really
like,
don't.
There's really no reason for them to listen to him.
Well, that's why he probably doesn't use the rough and gruff thing, because it's not going to work. Especially with Tony Stark, who's all like, I don't want to be here.
It works in the comic books. And I mean, when the Avengers come into play, Captain America's the leader of the Avengers. Nick Fury really doesn't have much to do with it. So I think it might just be kind of hard to force him into that type of thing. But anyways, that's just one of my nitpicks. What else you got?
I know this is probably not like really a nitpick, but just something that doesn't make sense to me. I think it's in the comic books too. But the fact that the Hulk is in India, which has an extremely large population, and he's trying not to hurt people.
Well, you mean Bruce Banner's in India?
Oh, yes, Bruce. Yes, Bruce is in India, which has such a large population. It's very there's so many people, and he's trying to avoid hurting people. Right, that's his thing. Is like creating damage and everything. So wouldn't he go to like the desert or like some place where it's really remote and like
he'd kill people or he'd die there? I mean,
or like you know what I mean, like some place where he couldn't hurt other people.
Well, the thing is, Bruce Banner like the reason he's in Budapest is because he's helping people, like helping sick people and everything. I actually really like that when he's like you see the inside of his tent and they're like sick people there and he's helping them.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool because it shows like how different he is than the Hulk. Like and also I mean if you're gonna lie low, like that seems like a place. It's like a slum of like a million people and. But again, you're the only white guy.
Yeah, but it's also like one person steps on his toe and then he's
rocking the shoe, and then it's just like throwing people up in the air. You just see the nuclear bomb explosion like way in the background.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess that's a nitpick, but I think it makes enough sense for him to be there. Like the desert, like he would die there.
Well, not like, but I'm just saying that whole idea of being really remote, like separate from society, just something where he can't hurt.
Well, it's
like in the
United States society. Either way.
Just like from any society.
It doesn't matter because they even say that it's like, we've been watching you the whole time. We've kept you distance and everything. But, so, I mean, and maybe it wouldn't have worked, but they said that S.H.I.E.L.D. was like purposefully throwing other people off the trail.
Yeah.
Another nitpick I have, kind of like random, and it's like costumes. I always thought the costumes were a little costumey. I think they're better in this movie than like Thor's costume's different, and I'm like, whatever. Like I don't care.
Thor's worked.
Thor's worked. I thought
Captain America's though. His was just over the top. I'm like, no, this is stupid. What do you get
the
that
helmet?
Out of here.
The helmet bothers me, but
it wasn't even a helmet. It was like a mask that they were like.
It was. I don't understand like what it is. It's like a helmet with. It
looks like something like someone made at their house.
It looks like an Aquabats thing, you know. Honestly.
Yeah, oh, totally. Yeah.
That's kind of what it looks like to me, and I'm like, you can get rid of the helmet. Like, I mean, give him like when he was. In the first movie, I thought the first movie's costume was terrible, but when he was doing the war bonds thing, I almost kind of liked the way he looked during that. I was like, you know, like just give him like the scales or whatever. Like, who cares? Like, that's a costume we know and love. Like with the Superman costume, they're changing it in the new movie, and it just every time they try to update a costume, it looks weird. Like, you know, superheroes look weird in the comic book, but if you update it to be different, but they're still wearing a costume, it's like then you might as well go with the old-fashioned, the one everyone knows.
Well, I think when it comes to costumes, I think you should either just do something completely different or original, or stick very close to the original thing.
And I thought this costume was closer to the original, so I liked it more for that reason.
Yeah.
But the helmet's kind of weird. Thor's costume was fine. Nick Fury, I mean, doesn't look the same. He's just wearing a Matrix trench coat, very almost like 90s. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like just very I was expecting very like what I thought looked cool in 8th grade, but actually doesn't.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And Scarlet Witch looked fine. I kind of wish she had like the belt buckle thing, like the only like sort of apparel that makes her like gives her the reason of Scarlet Witch. Like
yeah.
I mean, Scarlet Witch. No, I mean Black Widow. Yeah. Sorry. Iron Man's costume basically the same. They keep changing it slightly, but
well, that's because Tony Stark is always like
between the circle and like the what is it? I guess a triangle or
it's like he keeps mixing them up. Like it's like a circle or a square or like a triangle,
like a yield sign and a squiggle. You know, in the next one.
An octagon.
Right. I'd like to see them just branch out and be like a star, a heart, like just a unicorn, like silhouette.
Yeah.
Something really random. Yeah, so his, for all intents and purposes, is exactly the same minus the chest circle part. And the Hulk looked a lot better in this movie.
Oh, the Hulk was like, literally, it was like after 2 movies, I guess. No, is it 3? No, 2. The 2 Hulk movies.
Well, there's the Ang Lee one, and then there's the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, but after those 2 movies, they finally just got it right. Because, like, honestly, the Hulk was the best part of the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he was my favorite, even though, like, Captain America was my favorite hero, but, like, the Hulk was just, like... It was so nice seeing him done right, because Thor was done right in the last movie.
Yeah.
Captain America was great in the last movie, I thought. Although, I still had problems with some of that movie. Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man.
Oh, yeah. It's literally like you couldn't have found
I honestly believe that's like what he does in his spare time. I can't imagine him not doing
well, he was gone to prison a lot for doing coke, so...
Okay, well, that was before, man. And
yeah, but...
He's that
lifestyle, he's lived it, so it's like a lot of experience.
Right, but I mean, like, when I see him walking around Stark Tower and, like, the Jarvis talking to him and, like, robot parts getting put on and off of him, like...
Oh, yeah.
It's just, like, I feel like I would be unreal to see him not actually happening.
Just, like, living in a normal house. It's like, oh, here you go.
Right, like, just on Twitter and stuff. I'd be like, what are you doing? Go fight crime, man. But, yeah, so, I mean, the costumes, I thought they were better in this movie, but... Just the small changes, and a lot of them were unexplained. Like, why would Thor? Like, I guess, they explained Captain America's change, and that's fine. Hulk doesn't really have a costume; he just has pants. And I actually thought it was kind of funny when he was totally naked, and like the really weird guy who's just nonchalant. He's like, "You an alien?" He's like, "No." He's like, "Okay, whatever." Like, he just didn't seem to care about any of it.
Well, yeah, I guess
it was just kind of funny, but like, and Iron Man's makes sense, I guess, but like. I don't know. Still, it's just like if you're going to change the costumes from the comic book, like if he's wearing the same amount of costume, maybe even more, then why change it? Because he's still wearing a costume. It still looks like I don't know. It just that's a really small nitpick. It doesn't affect the movie at all.
One thing also is Hawkeye.
Like, Hawkeye. He needed a mask or goggles,
something,
sunglasses, maybe in the poster.
A Zorro mask, even just something. Give the guy something to cover his face. I know he's an agent, but still, it just.
And I was like, you know what? That might actually look really cool in real life.
I don't know, but he was more of a secret agent, so I don't think he would have a full costume, but definitely just some type of goggles or something to wear. Would have definitely just improved it a lot better.
Yeah, although I guess. Yeah, maybe that. I don't know. Part of me thinks like goggles. Like, what function would they have?
Well, like you know how he had the sight. Just give it like maybe some techno stuff where it can zoom in. So that's where he can do those awesome shots.
Well, then I guess it kind of takes away from like the skill. Like,
well, you still need skill to make those types of shots, anyways.
No, I know, but like in the Ultimate Universe, Hawkeye has a scope on his like bow. He has like one of those really fancy like carbon compound like bow
he's got
things.
one of those things.
But I was like, well, once you have a scope and a laser and everything, like it's not that impressive that you can make those shots because like it's guiding it for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess.
But
he was also, I think,
I do love Jeremy Renner.
One thing I loved also for that is the fact that to show how skilled he was, like the shots that they were having him make.
Oh yeah.
Like the fact that he was like he fired off the ship to like angle it just right so it would hit the ship so it would blow up.
Yeah, well the arrows that he used too, like I mean, I would have loved to see like a boxing glove arrow, like just a really like old school ridiculous
or
stuff.
just like him like trying like he ran out of arrows, so I gotta make something. So just like he finds like he's in like a Sports Authority store or something, so he just duct tapes one, just fires it off.
I did like the way they did the arrows too. It was almost like a rotating Gatling gun chamber thing was like the patch. Yeah. And I liked that he was really, because that's something about Hawkeye that most people are like, the guy fires arrows, what happens when he runs out of arrows? He's totally competent in a fist fight. He just like, he's the one that can shoot from afar.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it was pretty cool. The way they did him too, you'd think like, you got Iron Man who can shoot missiles and whatnot. Like, you don't need an arrows guy. Like, arrows guy is like, go be in the Olympics or something.
Go be
not watched by anyone in the Summer Olympics. No, they make him a valuable part of the team. And I like this. Hawkeye doesn't need a backstory because he's Hawkeye. You're like, all right, purple dude fires arrows. I get it. I don't need to know why he does. I don't care.
Yeah.
But they give him enough of a backstory, too, where he's like actually a character.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, what's another... Oh, is that your nitpick or mine?
That was yours. I think we got nitpicked it enough.
No, I don't think so.
I got nothing left. So.
You got nothing left? One thing, I'll just go through a few. I thought Loki was a good... I love the guy that played him. I thought he is...
Oh, yeah.
He's really such a good Loki. And, like, if I were casting, I honestly don't know who I'd get, but who directed the Thor movie?
I have no idea.
The guy who directs, like, Shakespeare stuff. He's really good.
Shakespeare stuff.
Yeah, he directs and like writes Shakespeare. Or no, he doesn't write Shakespearean stuff. He directs like a lot of Shakespearean plays or whatever. And that's why they got him. And I was like, that works. It worked. That's why. That's why like the really weird dialogue. Like, and if you open a comic book, Thor, like his letters are different. He's like, "Thou shalt not like touch the son of Odin," and stuff like that.
Very like oldie.
It's very metal.
Yeah,
very metal. It's very metal. I mean, Iron Man calls him Rock of Ages, or calls Loki that. But, I mean, the guy, like, they get it to work. At least in this movie, I thought in Thor, he kind of didn't have... I was like, I don't know what he wants. I don't think he knows what he wants. And so, like, I'm just kind of confused by that. His philosophy is really good in this, but I feel like he still doesn't do enough. He's, like, maybe a little too passive.
Oh, yeah. He's just kind of like, things are working.
Yeah, he's like, just got to wait for that army to show up. And it's like, well, I want to see you do something. Like,
yeah, stop being such a lazy person.
And like, he does do stuff. He, like, he mind controls people, and he kind of gets them all turning against each other. Probably, actually, I think he's the reason why the Hulk even gets out in the first place. Traps Thor, but, like, the way I don't know, there's just something about it. Like, he's just a little too, like...
Yeah.
Like Hannibal Lecter, who's just like behind the cell, and it's like, oh, I can't wait to see him break out. Can't wait to see him break out. Can't wait to see him do something. And it's like only in the final act does he get out, and even still, like Thor just beats the crap out of him. Like the first time he's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like like whatever. Thor takes him on by himself and beats him.
One thing I had to say that I liked about it, which was very funny, I thought, was the fact that every time he would talk, he would be about to give this great malevolent speech, and then it just gets shot down. Like I love how he just like he really fit that younger brother mentality to Thor's big brother.
Yeah.
It's just because he was like, everyone just shits on him. He's just like, he's talking down to Black Widow, and
she totally works him.
Oh, and she's like, oh no, I actually needed. Oh, thanks for that information.
Oh, so that's your game.
Oh,
yeah.
What?
He's like, wait, what? No, but I also love he'll get interrupted. The part that I laughed the most at in the movie, and we'll move on to our most nerdgasmic moments. But the part that I laughed most in the movie was when he was talking to the Hulk, and he was like, enough, like you unintelligent creature, I'm a god, and like, who are you? And like, before he even gets to finish the like they say in The Incredibles, the monologuing.
Yeah.
The Hulk, he stops to like listen to what he says, and then he just interrupts him, like, he picks him up like a rag doll and just beats the crap out of him.
Literally, like a gorilla picking up like
a kitten or something.
Yeah, something like that.
And just beats him up, and I love the look on his face. He's like so stunned that
he's
what
like,
just happened. He like punched into the ground, and I love that Hulk's like puny god. And the Hulk is probably my biggest nerdgasmic moment. They got him so right. They got him so right.
I seriously think they should go back, make him his own movie. Because seriously,
a prequel.
Like, well, not even. I guess it would be a prequel, but how they made Thor's movie, then they made Captain America's movie.
What they should do is they should take Ang Lee's Hulk and be like, you have to trade in like. We release a movie as an Ang Lee movie gets destroyed.
Yeah.
Just like slowly collect them all and destroy them and use the parts to make the new Hulk movies.
And be like, power our generators.
and just like go on the back of the disc and like on internet and stuff and be like, no, this came out in like 2000 or whenever the last one did.
Oh, just change it.
History. So. Yeah, change history basically. Because I mean, not only does he look great CG wise, in the last two movies he didn't look great. Ang Lee in Hulk, he was terrible.
Oh my god!
Wrong color green. He was so stocky, and he looked like an Asian guy. Because I mean, it was just really bad.
Yeah.
And in the Incredible Hulk, which is a way altogether superior movie than the first one, like he still looked weird, sinewy, and like he just looked very like right out of a video game. And I've seen better graphics in a video game too. And I was like, I'm kind of surprised they didn't put more money into this. But special effects in that movie looked a lot better, and this brought it home. I think this looks like the Hulk from the comic books.
Absolutely. And it was just his movement and stuff like that. And also, one scene that I think was when Bruce was, just the fact that he was in the ship, like the way he was just very fidgety and nervous, was really fit because he was very worried about being on the ship in the first place. So the entire time he's just like, gotta stay calm. Like he looked like a drug addict, and it just fit so great.
He's like, what? It's very spacey and like, and very nervous, and it made me uncomfortable. So that's the other thing too that they got right. I did like Fight Club. What's his name?
Edward Norton.
Ed Norton. I was way off.
Edward Norton.
Yeah, Edward Norton was a really good Bruce Banner, but I like the way that Mark Ruffalo played this Bruce Banner a lot more. I think like he was afraid of himself. You could tell, and that was really interesting.
Yeah, it definitely gave that whole of course this is based off of Jekyll and Hyde, and this definitely gave that.
In the other movies, it's more about the Hulk running away from Thunderbolt Ross and the military and stuff.
Yeah.
But in this, he's just afraid of himself. Like at any moment, he was afraid he'll hurt people. And I don't know. That was really interesting. So I think altogether that character was great, and probably because it was so not unexpected, but I just never seen the Hulk done so right. That's why it was so exciting for me. Not only that, but I love watching him destroy things. Like the special effects are so great in this movie, and it's just so satisfying to see him just punish like everyone who is like giving like
those giant like snake flying creatures.
They almost look like giant fish whale things. Yeah, and they're shooting off all these bad guys, and they're giving everybody problems. It's one of those things where it's like a mini boss in a video game, and Hulk just comes along and he's like done. Yeah, like
it was like him and Thor were just like taking them out.
Yeah, it was very cool. One thing I will say, one of my nerdgasm moments, Joss Whedon clearly has read the comic books because there's just little touches that he gets right, like little sort of things that you have to be a fan to notice. Like when he has the Thor and Hulk's like squaring off against each other, like that's such a classic fight in the comic books, and like it's such a classic matchup. Not only that, but like just the dynamic of Captain America and Iron Man was great. And
actually, on that note, just as like in looking at it as a movie, and as like when you're watching the movie, it totally had that feel of a comic book. Like I felt like that you could have easily just transformed that into a comic book strip. Like I was imagining it as in panels.
Really?
Yeah, it was really interesting. Like when he was Captain America was exploring the hull, finding the weapons that they were building. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just seemed like something out of a panel. And like it fit the theme. Like you should treat it as a comic book before you treat it as a movie, because like they didn't add any romance.
Yeah, they didn't need to.
Exactly, they didn't need to.
I mean, you get a little bit of it, but it's never really like it's not a big part of the movie. No girl gets kidnapped. It's nothing like that.
Yeah, no, but it treated it in like as a comic and not a movie.
I guess.
And one thing that also worked well is that they didn't really have any. It was all main plots, but like subsections of main plots. Like you had like team ups.
Yeah.
Like Iron Man and Captain America working together. Like Thor and Hulk, and just like they would focus on those relationships. And just kind of like build little ties to them to kind of help.
Well, it's a very well balanced movie. I think every character gets something to do. My big fear going into the movie was that Iron Man would like get way too much to do. Well, before Thor and everything came out, I knew they wanted to do an Avengers movie, and I was like, I could have sworn the Captain America movie was going to tank. Can't do Avengers without Captain America. And I know Iron Man was such a big success. Yeah. I was like, they're going to put him in charge, or he's just going to take up a majority of the film. Like, it's going to be about that character, and everyone else will be ancillary. But that's totally not the case. There is no main character in this movie.
You can't really find one. Like, if you really...
They're all the main character. They're all given such equal thing. Like
it was such a
because like part of me is like, oh, it's like Hawkeye. No, that's definitely not Hawkeye. It's Black Widow. No, but she plays a huge part. Iron Man. No, other people have just as much a role. The whole story, like it's something that they're all as involved in equally, and it's a really good story, really balanced. I'm really impressed with Joss Whedon's. I mean, that's probably why they got him. They knew he did Buffy, Firefly, and I mean the guy's clearly a nerd. If you've seen Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. Which is awesome.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, you know that the guy knows comic books and is a total nerd like us. What do you give it out of 10?
I will give it an 8 out of 10. Just because normally I would probably give it a 9, but saying that you're about to eat the best food and then it not being the most perfect thing, you kind of like you bring it down. You're a little disappointed, so it's an 8.
That's really weird because I actually didn't get any hype for this movie. I don't know. I just like it was one of those things where I didn't even. I saw the trailer and I was like, oh wow, they're actually getting. I didn't get any like pictures. I didn't hear any like news about it, and I'm pretty good about that, especially with superhero movies.
Well, I had Scott, who's like, he's like, it's so funny.
He's on that.
Well, no, it's so funny because originally when we were kids, like I was the comic book nerd, and now he's like completely gone to the other side. Like,
the dark side.
He like knows so because I kind of stopped reading comics for a long time just because I couldn't afford it.
We'll have to make a graph because it's like as comic book interest goes up, number of girlfriends go down.
Yeah. Well,
we're single ladies. So would you see it again in theaters? And what was your experience when you saw it? By the IMAX 3D?
No, just normal movie theater.
Normal.
I don't like all that extra stuff. I just want to see the movie. I don't need
back in the good old days.
I'm sorry. I'm old fashioned that way.
You're old fashioned that way. So what did you say you gave it? An 8?
An 8.
8 out of 10. Would you see it again?
I'm not a big fan of going to the movies twice.
See it in matinee? DVD?
Like if it was like cheap, like because you know how the $8 for a movie, it's just not really.
When your income is $0.
Yes, when you have no money, it's probably not, but I'll definitely watch it again.
For me, there was no hype, so that didn't ruin it for me. I mean, I had fears going in, so maybe that's the difference. That they would do something wrong, that they would screw it up. But there were just moments where it just took me by surprise with how funny it would be, or like I mean,
oh yeah.
Just like every once in a while there'd be that one line, like when Black Widow is like telling Captain America, she's like, you can't take on Loki, he's a god, and Captain America says, there's only one God, man, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that. I was like, that's such a Captain America thing to say. It was like just like so like red, white, and blue, like old school, like I just loved it. And like, and you know, in the movie when they do, it was in the trailer, so I knew it was coming. When they did this shot where it goes around in a circle, Hulk, Thor, and Captain America's like, I don't even remember what he's doing, but like you see Black Widow reloading, and like all of that in the circle where it circles around them. I just like, I nerdgasmed so hard, and like even though I knew it was coming, so like I don't know, this movie was just really great. The whole pacing, everything was, there was no like.
You know what? Actually, I could think of one thing that really kind of bothered me about the movie.
What's that?
I kept getting pulled out. I could not get completely absorbed into the movie.
What pulled you out?
I don't know why. Maybe it's just because because honestly, working on movies with people now has just kind of changed my perspective with movies.
Yeah.
So now that I imagine like, oh, how'd they do this shot? How'd they do this? And it's just kind of takes you back a little bit. Because then you can't really get completely absorbed into the story. I mean, think it was fine. Like, it wasn't like it would. I'd get in and I'd be like in for a little bit, and then I'd be like, I'd step back, and then I'd come back in. It was
I think you have intimacy issues, John.
Intimacy issues.
You're too afraid to get close. You gotta break down those barriers. What happened to you, John? What happened?
I don't want to talk about it.
Ever since the incident, and you just hear like, you know,
Papa, no.
Run, John, run away. You hear like dogs barking and everything. All right, yeah. So I mean, I didn't really have any major problems. Like even the small stuff, costumes. Didn't think Loki was good, and he had like more of a purpose. I thought his philosophy was good, but you know, it's just small stuff like that. But it didn't really affect the movie, and I thought it was great.
Yeah,
action was great. Action choreography was great. Besides just the special effects.
All right. Well, because we did this in the last one, so I thought we'd bring it back in this one. Is if there was, because there's obviously a second one. They kind of like.
You think so?
No, there is.
No. So this is what I'm wondering though. Is it going to be like we're going to make another Captain America movie, another Iron Man movie, then we're going to bring it back for Avengers 2, or is it going to be like just Avengers 2 now?
I think just let's look at it.
I think they should just do Avengers 2 now.
Let's just look at it logistically. That movie made over like $200 million, and on the first day,
yeah, I think it might
broke
have set
records. It
all
broke
records.
It broke
every record in the world for everything was broken.
It would literally broke everything. So like they're gonna be like, we want more money, so we're gonna make another one.
You think movie producers want more money? I don't know.
And I hope they give him another chance. I know Joss Whedon is kind of He gets on people's nerves. No offense if he's listening.
He's arrogant. Yeah.
He's kind of like
his fans are really the ones that bother me, but like his diehard fans that
so
like
bad.
Like I take a bullet for Joss Whedon. His words are the word of God.
The words of law.
The words of God. Yeah.
But they're totally gonna do one. What hero do you think you would put in?
Well, that's the thing. One? Joss Whedon's like, I want to do a smaller group, make it more intimate and stuff, and I'm like, wrong. Like I thought the Avengers team, like, sort of not a nitpick about the movie itself. But I was like, the Avengers, when I read Avengers comic books, there's like 30 of them. And that's an exaggeration. But it's a big group. And that's kind of what's so cool about it. It's like this, like coming from all sort of corners of the Marvel universe, like this team up of people who are so different.
Yeah.
So like when it's just like Thor, I mean, Hawkeye, Black Widow, sure. But I'm like, whatever. Without the other ones, you're nothing. Nick Fury, like I kind of put them where Nick Fury is, where I'm like, you're kind of
he's just
sideliners. I mean, and they all have a function and everything. But I was like, I feel like those two aren't super necessary. Like Thor, it's really Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, and the Hulk.
Yeah.
And I mean that's just not enough for me. And if he's gonna take like one of those people away, then it's not the Avengers.
I think it's just if you take away I think they're probably, if anything, it'd be Black Widow or Hawkeye, if any of the two that they would remove.
See, I feel like that's something he would keep in because he can expand on them in a way that like no one cares about. Like Hawkeye had a little bit of a backstory, but like did I say before? I was like, he's a purple guy, he shoots arrows, who cares?
Yeah.
Like so I mean, I feel like that's something that like someone like Joss Whedon would like to keep because he can add and like mold them in a way that he wants to.
Maybe. But all right, but hero that you would add.
So yeah, if I could add a hero, for me it would be Doctor Strange. Just because what he is so different than the rest of the Avengers, and he's very powerful too. So when you have like a god and the Hulk and everything, you want someone else who can like balance the team well. His whole thing is magic. I mean, they're kind of doing it already with the gods and everything.
Yeah,
and it's like a different area of expertise. I'd like to see where he could take it, and not only that, but the rest of them are like scrappers and everything. Doctor Strange is not at all like. Physically, he's just
more like point lasers and shoot out of his fingers.
It's more like colorful pink magic and a flamboyant cape and everything. I just think the team needs one of those guys, like with the goatee and everything. Very interesting.
The token gay guy?
No, he's not gay.
Flamboyant. Yeah, all right.
Now, if anything, he's sort of like a Tony Stark, or he used to. His origin is complicated because I'm basing it off the movie that came out like in the 70s. Where he's like, dude, I could have sworn he was a porn star, the guy that played him. And I'm gonna look that up later, but I don't know.
Maybe.
It was a weird movie.
All right, well, if I would have to choose, just because like
Let me guess.
Yeah, all right. Just because of the new movies coming out, and I think it would go very well with like what you were saying with different corners of the world. And I'm saying Spider-Man, just because because his origin is way different from all the other ones. Like he's just a little kid from like.
Hold on, let me stop you right there. You saying that a nerdy science-loving person who gets in a radioactive accident?
All right. My apologies.
This is because you are Peter Parker. This is bias.
Yes, it is biased, but I just think
that was like the first thing I ever said to you. I was like, "You are Peter Parker."
Pretty much, So internet instead of Donald Glover, John Adams.
I don't think Donald Glover is going to get the job.
But that's what. Remember that whole.
Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah. So John Adams for
Peter Parker.
For Peter Parker.
Stop the movie right now. Scrap it.
Get
rid of Andrew Garfield.
Who is he?
He wasn't in any like massive Oscar-winning picture.
No, he wasn't. But yeah, that's who I'd pick.
See, well, I thought they were rebooting Spider-Man specifically because I was like, I thought it was like he's going to be in the Avengers. That's probably.
I think he'll probably be in the second one.
You think they'll just bring him in?
Yeah, I don't see why not. Maybe they'll do something at the end of this Amazing Spider-Man.
Well, how do you know it's amazing? I haven't seen it yet.
Well, that's the title.
Is
the
it?
Amazing Spider-Man.
Is it?
It is the Amazing Spider-Man.
I've just been calling it the Spider-Man or the needless Spider-Man reboot. I don't know. We'll definitely review that one, and we might even do a talk before we see it, and then see it, and then talk about it after. Because I have my fears, and we'll definitely.
I do too. I'm just being very optimistic, just because I hated the first.
Yeah, you have weird problems. We'll talk about it during the Spider-Man review. But for now, all right. So let's just go over it. You give it an 8.
Yep, an 8, and you gave it an.
I don't think I gave it a rating, but I'll give it like a 9 point. I would say just 9 because I can't give it a 9.5. That's too close to 10, and it's a great movie, but it's like it's great in a different way that like I can't give a perfect 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think I have a movie that has a perfect 10.
And it's a movie I think anyone could enjoy. Like not my grandma. Well, maybe my grandma actually. She has weird taste, but she likes the most violent movies. So I'll give it a 9, and it's a movie I would definitely see again in theaters. I'm so cheap, I don't know. I'd see it again in matinee theater, and it's a movie that I'd like to own on DVD or get for like Christmas.
See, it's just personally, I don't like to own action movies.
What do you like to own?
Well, no, just like movies that I'm very like when I watch a movie, I retain like everything that just happened. Like I could probably recap the entire movie in my head.
I love the part where Luke Skywalker and
Roger
Rabbit. I'm like, yeah, what?
That did not happen. But yeah, I probably won't own it. I don't know. I'm very picky when it comes to movies.
I rely on my friends to buy movies, and then I borrow them and don't return them.
Exactly.
I have movies from friends that aren't my friends anymore. But anyways, thus recaps and I will cry like a baby if this doesn't save. But thus recaps.
And I will.
Yeah,
I will kill you.
It's not my fault, but I always say that. So that's the end of our first ever Talk Nerdy to Me. I think.
Talk nerdy to me.
Hopefully, it's not really the first because we recorded one we're coming up on 35 minutes, but yeah, it's the first if it records. So hopefully, wish us luck. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you soon.